Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rafael Fernández de Castro. I'm the director of the Center for U.S.-Mexican Studies at the University of California, San Diego. And I'm very pleased to be here with Beth Ross Buckley and with Andrés Martin. And this is wonderful. You're going to have today this world premiere of Unstoppable and a very important piece by Andrés. So, Beth, I mean, you are the leader of Camarada. This is a chamber music ensemble. Could you share with us, I mean, what is Camarada all about, and how come you discover Andrés? And what is, because I know Camarada, and you have this very enthusiasm for Latin American music. So tell us about this.
Well, first, Camarada is a chamber music ensemble that plays lots of different styles of music, classical, baroque, tango, jazz. I just bring in different people who have expertise in those areas, and we have a lot of fun collaborating. And my intent in San Diego is to bring oasis, connection, and culture to the music community, or to the whole community. And I love really getting into programming, very interesting, maybe some standards, but maybe some hidden gems, and we bring them all together to make a masterpiece. So that's our mission in San Diego. And we've been doing this for 26 years. I'm a founding member, and I just have a big passion for chamber music. It's so much fun for me, and I love connecting with the audiences. You mentioned, that we do have an affinity for Latin music. Mm-hmm. The first time I heard a Piazzolla piece, I went searching for everything he did. I have been obsessed ever since. So, and other Latin American music too, but Piazzolla has been, and tango has been a focus for us. And
it definitely impacted you.
Yes. So last year, I needed a bass player for my tango quintet, and a good friend, Susan Wolf, recommended Andrés Martin, and it was the perfect match, and not only just for tango, but for meeting a musician who is so passionate and so gifted. We are so lucky that he crosses the border to play with us. So that's what started the relationship, and then we were intending to go to South America with a Camarada Tango Quintet.
I wanted to be your groupie.
I know, I was hoping you'd be the groupie. We were supposed to leave March 19th, and of course we didn't. But once that happened, I said, okay, what am I going to do now? I first need to get over letting go of that tour and understanding what's going on in the world, but how are we going to make music? What are we going to do in this time? Because I have a need to connect with people and to keep the music going. So I called up Andrés and asked if he would do a piece, and he'll tell you more about that process.
And here we are.
And here we are with
Andrés, let me start with you. You were born in Argentina.
Yes.
But you've been living in Tijuana for almost 2 decades, for almost
Yes.
20 years. So tell us, how Tijuana, this border town, has impacted you, your music. You're a virtuoso now, and has Tijuana helped you become what you are?
Yes, thank you, Rafael. When I arrived to Tijuana, I grew up in Buenos Aires, which is a big city, a capital of Argentina. And Tijuana gave me a space for believing that every project I dream of could be possible. Since I arrived to mainly perform with the Baja California Orchestra, but I always had my own projects and my own dreams in music, And in Tijuana, I found always people that was wanting to make these projects become a reality. And not only individuals.
It's a city of happening, you're right.
Yes, exactly. Not only individuals, but also institutions, private and on the government. So my perception changed because I started believing that every dream I have could be possible there. And that changed my life because it encouraged me to pursue more and more projects.
Andres, and Tijuana, it's San Diego, and San Diego is Tijuana. I mean, we're in this together.
Yes,
with
exactly.
Neighbors, and I believe that each city benefits a lot by being neighbors. So, what about San Diego? How San Diego and living next to California has affected you?
Yeah, well, that changed my life because when I started going across the border, and I instantly wanted to meet all the bass players in the area in San Diego, and it was great because there's a big cultural difference. The history is different, the people is different, but the needs are pretty similar. And music has helped us to connect and to dream together. And I made wonderful friends in this side of the border, and we started doing all those projects. We started doing on both sides of the border. And not only it worked for us, but it worked also for our students, for our community. So when I realized this possibility of bridging across the border culturally, all my projects and all my dreams became binational.
Excellent.
And also that has a huge creative power. And I'm very proud and honored to say that many of the projects that were born in this cross-border reality, now they are going around the world.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example?
Well,
because I want you to tell us about Unstoppable and what is the meaning in this. We're still living under COVID-19.
Yes.
But tell us about one example that.
Well,
how come San Diego and Tijuana have allowed you to basically project yourself to the entire world?
Yes. Well, more than a decade ago, I founded a bass festival in Tijuana.
Okay.
That I was leading, and it was running every year. And this festival was a festival for bass players, and every year I was getting teachers from U.S. and many students from U.S., but not only from San Diego, from all over the United States. And also I was getting over between 50 and 70 bass players from all over Mexico and Latin America.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So that helped to many people who could not get a visa or could not afford an international travel to come to Tijuana and meet all these wonderful professors. And it was the same for many bass players and also professors that were for the first time in Mexico and met all these people from all over Latin America. And they, in that spot, began relationships between professors and students that then they were to study in universities in the US or Europe, or it helped also to open the doors for artists in the US to start meeting institutions and people in Mexico and just start spreading their music over there.
But tell us about Unstoppable. How you feel about this?
Oh, this piece has been my anchor for the year. Not only just the title of it, Unstoppable, as I, hit some tough times. I just would come back to the title of this piece because we took the title of Andres's piece and we made it the theme for our season. So I have thought of it often, and I am so excited that we are here and we haven't been stopped, and we get to present it tonight. And I think I'm feeling that the music that you wrote embodies the whole spectrum of the pandemic. All of the feelings people had, kind of a little bit of a screeching to a halt maybe, and the one movement, the heartfulness is so full of hope, and then we haven't gotten quite to the last movement yet during the pandemic, but it's brilliant. How did it come to you?
Tell us, Andres.
Well,
Share with us what you're feeling.
This project started maybe in one of the worst moments of the pandemic, which was in the very first few months, because I remember at the very beginning of it, they were saying that this was going to be maybe for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Mm-hmm. But there was a moment where I believe we all realized it was going to be a long time. And there was a lot of fear about the future. I was kind of desperate to not being able to plan about something. Because one thing is that somebody tells you, okay, you have to slow down and maybe start making plans for, 6 months, 1 year. But when there's no answer, the feeling is that you have to stop. And there's no hope there. And I refused to do that. I couldn't believe I will have to stop completely of creating and doing something. And I was having conversations with many friends and colleagues, musicians, and they were all afraid. They were all full of fear and negativity. And when I spoke with Beth, it was the complete opposite. She was feeling exactly like me, like, let's do something. And I was I couldn't believe how someone could, in the worst possible moment of the humanity, invest in creating art. And that was kind of a big trigger for me for what it became a wonderful year. And it was the first and the core piece of my engine, of my creative engine. And that's why I thought, well, I will have to do something that reflects this energy, this creative energy that we have. The first movement, it's full of energy, it's on fire, which was the complete feeling I had since the very beginning. I was like, oh my God, now we are a team. Now we're moving forward, and we're making things happen despite this whole uncertainty that we all are living right now. Then the second movement, the name is Echoes of Hope, and I had this feeling that we all were isolated and we all were feeling alone, and we were all together.
We have been.
Yeah. Yes.
It's been hard on us.
Yes, exactly. But the big paradox is that we are all together in that feeling, because we are experiencing the same thing at the same time. So I thought about how can people inside of each of their homes, they can be feeling something and they can be feeling this loneliness, but at the same time we are all feeling the same. And the third movement, it's more about going back to inside us, because at that moment, I was also thinking that everything outside was so much out of control that the best use of my time I could do, it was like focus on myself, on my inner self. So that movement, it's structured like a guided meditation.
Okay.
So I think you will see it, but it served us to go down to the earth and reconnect with our inner self. And I believe that's a beautiful thing, and it's even more beautiful when we are doing it together. And the last one is kind of a celebration of life, the Wheel of Spree. And it's, again, full of energy and playfulness, and because at the end, we all have this spirit. So that's
This is wonderful. This is a beautiful story. Andres, thank you for sharing with us. Beth, could you tell us a little bit about your ensemble to perform Unstoppable? I mean, who are the players? I mean, what instruments?
So Andres's idea was, because Dave, my husband, and I perform together, his first idea was, let's make it for flute and violin, because I know they can practice together. And I was
Which
like,
is David's and you.
yeah, me and Dave. And then I was like, yes, but when we can play with you, I'd like a version with bass to show how we're now coming together. And that's what you'll hear tonight is the flute, violin, and bass.
That's lovely. I heard you design a new bass.
Yeah.
Andres. Could you share that with us?
Yeah,
I believe that is amazing.
Yes, this collaboration began around 2 years ago, and I started working with Eastman Strings, which is an American company, and we started doing this collaboration because they wanted to have a solo bass, which is a bass more aimed for a target that plays more in a solo setup rather than in an ensemble. So the bass if you can change a bit of the shape and the design, it changes a lot of the sound and allows you to have a more bright sound that can stand out from the ensemble, because the usual role of the bass is to be in the background and to serve as a foundation of the whole ensemble. So that's fantastic, but when you take this bass and step in the front of the ensemble, but your instrument wants to be in the back, it's not so good. So I designed this instrument for them, and we've been doing prototypes. Unfortunately, we had to stop the whole process for 1 year, and we just reconnected, and I'm very proud with the result and to present this instrument.
Beth and Andres, share with me and with us your dreams about Unstoppable. It's, of course, you have dreams about this season and about what's coming. So share your dreams.
Well, I think having this mantra of unstoppable has kept us going, and I am so excited that we are going to be offering the rest of the season and, just a shorter time.
Okay.
But our dream is to complete the season for our audience in San Diego. And I'd say my dream for this piece is that we keep performing it maybe all over the world.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, we'll see. We haven't talked about that.
We are unstoppable.
We are unstoppable.
Who will stop you guys?
Yeah.
Andres,
Yeah.
what is your take on this?
Well, I just I wish this brings some hope and some conviction to other musicians, so they can start again pushing forward to make music happen, because music is a life experience, and I think we all miss it, musicians and audiences, and because at the end we want to connect, and the connection is so much stronger when we are facing each other. So I hope this serves as an inspiration to others, because keep playing this and doing it around the world, I don't hope for it. I know it's going to happen.
There we go.
Well, as a Mexican myself who live in San Diego, I'm very grateful to you, because I'm glad that you're putting together this Unstoppable, that this is a collaboration between Tijuana and San Diego. This is a across-the-border collaboration. I believe this is wonderful. I believe we basically getting richer by having more Tijuana into San Diego and the other way around. So
Yes.
congratulations, guys. And
Thank you.
have a wonderful performance. And I hope this, the University of California, San Diego will have much more events like this. This is wonderful for us.
Thank you, Rafael.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is wonderful.
you.